This is the Vivo V50 5G. It costs roughly 800,000 naira. It's supposed to have really impressive cameras because of their collaboration with Zeiss. So, does it? We'll answer the so does it question a little later, but for now let's start with what's in the box. For 800k, you're getting the V50, a phone case, a charging adapter, and a USB-A to C cable. A lot of mid-range to flagship phones tend to not give a lot of accessories, but fortunately on here, we get a lot of accessories. For colors, here in Nigeria, we get the V50 in satin black and starry blue. Starry blue is easily the better looking one. It kind of looks basic at first glance, but when the light hits it, the stars come out. Vivo used a holographic process to achieve this naked eye 3D effect. It's really cool. And what's even cooler is the fact that the phone reacts differently to different types of light. So in a way, you kind of get a unique look every time. It's easily one of those phone designs that deserve to be seen and not hidden in a phone case. But you should probably wear a phone case because this has a glass back. And we know glass is glass and glass breaks. You don't want this to break. The V50 is definitely a cool looking phone, especially in this starry blue color. And then, on top of looking nice, this phone feels nice. The V50 has a 41-degree golden curvature design. This phone is so curvy and so smooth. It kind of feels like a pebble. It's really comfortable to hold and to use. The screen is technically flat, but again, because of the curves, it doesn't feel flat. Vivo is calling this the equal depth quad curved screen. I really like how it feels. The curves really help. It makes the phone really comfortable to use. One really impressive thing about the V50 is its IP68 and IP69 rating. Vivo literally told me to go swimming with this phone. They said this phone can take photos and videos underwater, and it'll be fine. I tested it, and they were right. There are 2 speakers, 3 mics, a USB-C port, and a tray for just your SIM cards on the V50. So no headphone jack and no SD card slot. At this price, that is kind of expected. It is what it is. If you're curious about the speaker quality though, here's what it sounds like. At the start of the video, I mentioned that Vivo collabed with Zeiss, the guys that make camera lenses. They worked with them to co-engineer this phone's imaging system. The last Vivo device I covered here on the channel was the V30. Its cameras really impressed me. So when I got the V50, I was expecting serious quality, and I wasn't disappointed. Just like on the V30, all 3 cameras on this phone are 50 megapixel sensors. The main camera, the ultra-wide camera, and also the selfie camera. And as you can see, they all look amazing. Very true to life. Also in my V30 video, I mentioned that portrait mode was my favorite mode to shoot in. On the V50, that is also true. This phone legit lets you take portraits in different multifocal lengths. 23, 44, and 50 millimeters. So yeah, you can capture really nice portraits in various settings. My favorite is 50 millimeters. Then there are also these Zeiss style bokeh effects. These are effects that you typically would get from specialty lenses or maybe an editing software. The fact that you can get them from your smartphone without needing to download anything is really cool. Then there's this thing at the back of the phone. Most phones just get a flashlight. This doesn't. This has what Vivo is calling the Aura light. It's been on a couple of their V series devices, and it's on the V50 too. It does a really good job at softly illuminating your subject. It's like a flashlight, but better. So it takes good photos. What about video? Video too on the V50 is impressive. The main selfie and ultra-wide cameras can all shoot in 4K, and then while shooting in 4K, the main and ultra-wide camera get stabilization. If you want stabilization on the selfie camera, you would have to trickle it down to 1080p, which is still very fine. And then things like color, things like skin tone, things like dynamic range are also really good on this phone. They all combine to produce, honestly, really good video quality. On the V50, we get a 6.77-inch 1080p AMOLED display. This phone also has a refresh rate of 120Hz. Obviously, it's a good looking display. There's nothing to complain about. As you can see, color on here is good, it's plenty sharp, it's also pretty bright, up to 4500 nits. The bezels look pretty symmetrical. It's a good display. You're going to enjoy watching content on it. And then for the refresh rate, you can actually choose your preferred refresh rate. You can choose between 60 and 120 Hz. This phone's battery is pretty good, so I don't see why you can't just leave it on 120 and forget about it. Now, just because you've left it on 120Hz doesn't mean every app would refresh at 120Hz. You would have to check and then manually turn on high refresh rate support for every app. But yeah, once you do, your experience should be much smoother and more fluid. In addition to the phone's refresh rate, the phone's processor can determine how smooth and fluid a phone is. The V50 uses the Snapdragon 7 Gen 3 processor. This processor was released in November of 2023. It's also the same processor Vivo used on the V40, so it's not exactly a new chipset, and the fact that they're using the same chipset they used on the V40 is kind of a bummer. But it doesn't change the fact that this is a very capable processor. It's a 5G chipset, it's built on a 4nm process. This phone comes with 12 gigs of LPDDR4X RAM, which can be extended to another 12 gigs courtesy of virtual RAM. Things like multitasking is pretty smooth on here. You would also notice that apps open pretty quickly. Battery life on here is also pretty good because of how efficient the chipset is. And then gaming too is also good. I played games at high graphics settings and the gameplay, as expected, was smooth. And then while gaming, the phone's temperature stayed cool. Vivo included an ultra-large VC smart cooling system. They did this to prevent overheating and to ensure sustained high performance. Obviously, this phone would get warm if you're gaming for hours, but it wouldn't be anything more than that. The Vivo V50 has a 6000 mAh Blue Volt battery. First off, I think it's impressive how Vivo managed to fit a 6000 mAh battery in such a slim device. I mean, you wouldn't expect a slim phone like this to still have a big battery. With this phone, you can expect all-day battery life, and that's because of features like the Blue Volt battery system and the AI sleep mode. They both help to minimize background power usage, which would then equal better battery life. And then on top of its really good battery life, this phone has really fast charging. The V50 supports up to 90 watts of wired fast charging. Vivo says a 10-minute charge would allow you to make calls for about 6 hours and then stream content for about 3 hours. So with the V50, you get really good battery life and really fast charging. Literally the best of both worlds. Lastly, I want to talk about software. The V50 is running on FunTouch OS 15, which is based on Android 15. I had my first taste of FunTouch OS on the V30, and I do remember being really impressed with how feature-packed and customizable it was. FunTouch OS 15 is also feature-packed and super customizable. And then it also comes with AI features. Gemini is this phone's virtual assistant. Holding down the power button would activate her and you can ask her your questions. Gemini is basically the Google Assistant, but way better. We all know how useful Gemini is. There's also Circle to Search on the V50. It's super useful and I actually like that more and more phones are coming out with this feature. It's really one of those features that every phone should have. In the sidebar, you'd find the screen translation feature. Kind of like Circle to Search, it helps you translate every text that is on your screen. There's also a feature that lets you transcribe your audio recordings to text. It's in the Recorder app. Just note that it requires an internet connection. There are a couple more AI features here, but I think these are the ones that most people would use regularly. For updates, the V50 is set to receive 3 years of major OS updates, and then 4 years of security patches. 3 years of OS updates. That's up to Android 18. So that's the Vivo V50 5G. It takes the best portraits ever on any phone I've tested. I think the collab with Zeiss was spot on. It's also got a pretty unique look and feel to it. And then things like its display, its performance, its battery life, its charging are all really good. The phone feels complete. The only thing that I can think of that is missing on this phone is wireless charging. That's like the one thing I feel this phone should have, but doesn't have. Those are my thoughts on the Vivo V50 5G. Let me know what you guys think of it down in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you when you see me. It doesn't look like your typical flashlight because it's not. It's called the Aura Light.